Okay, so I will just start with some introduction. JJ is here as well. Can you all see my screen?
Yes.
Hello.
Yes.
Yeah, hello. Okay, thank you. We are Telford Agile Meetup group, hosted by myself and Terence. Terence is enjoying life somewhere where there is no internet. So I'm doing his job today. Otherwise, this is usually done by Terence. So this is Terence PowerPoint. I borrowed it from him and I'm just running it on behalf of him. Hope I measure up to his standards. Okay, so this is Telford Agile Meetup group. Thank you everyone for joining, and thank you for people from all over the country and from all over the world as well. Okay. Today we have got Luis, who is going to talk about agile ways of working and its benefits. And after that, I have a small activity planned. It's going to be about enhancing the likenesses and letting go of the differences so that we can be we can reduce the us and them divide in organizations. And then we have, I will just give a little bit about what's next, what to expect in the next month meetup, and then a wrap up. That's what we have got for today. You can ask questions at the end, or if you feel it is really important, you want to stop the speaker and ask. I think that should be fine as well. We can ask Luis how he prefers. In terms of Q&A, at the end, definitely we will have enough time to encourage everyone to ask questions and then have a good discussion. And then I will start my activity after the Q&A so that we have the continuity of the talk and its Q&A. Is it okay? Should we go to Luis? Are you ready?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay, stop presenting.
Thank you. So good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching from. I'll be sharing my screen. And can you see my screen very well, everyone?
Yep.
Cool. Thank you very much. So I would like to thank you to Terence and Prema for the opportunity to be here, and also JJ in Jamalsi. So thank you very much for the opportunity. We'll be talking about agile ways of working in terms of delivery, not agile ways of working in the context that people think it is, because some people think agile ways of working is just about how we work from home, how we don't work in the office, how you do your car sharing, all this kind of stuff. So it's more about project delivery and not the ways of working in that context. So, and we'll talk about where we apply it, when, and also why. I'm Luis Montplaisir. Just like I introduced myself, I'm Scrum Master. I've been doing this for quite a while now, and I've been privileged to work in various sectors like public sector mainly, and also private sectors. But of late, I think my projects have been basically public sector. So I might talk more in that direction if that's okay with you. So I'll move to the first slide. And which has to do with I'll have to move this if you don't mind. Let me shrink it. Yeah. Cool. So we're going to explain what Agile is all about. I believe we are all Scrum Masters. If we're not all Scrum Masters, we know what Agile is all about. So everything we're going to talk about today is not anything new. It's just to reaffirm the fact that we're doing a great job, to reaffirm that the things we're doing is working, and also to say, well, we can keep up the good work. Sorry about that. We're going to define agile ways of working, challenges of agile delivery, benefits of agile delivery. So I'll keep it very short. not too long, just about 30 slides, if that's okay, Bob, just press through them. Fabulous. Can you hear me very well?
Yeah, sounds fine, Lewis.
Yeah.
Cool. Fabulous. Thank you. So I'll move to this. We all start projects not because we just feel like starting projects, because maybe something is sinking, something not going too well. We want to save money. We don't want to waste money. Or maybe something's falling off the cliff. We just need a solution. And that's why we run projects, to save people's lives. Sometimes we want to improve whatever we're doing. So we all know the common approach of project management, which has always been the waterfall, where you gather requirements, go through design phase, development, and do your testing, which some people still use. It's all good, but a bit cumbersome in terms of we have a Gantt chart, project plans, documentations. It could be quite heavy, which, you know, at times have helped. RAG status, highlight reports, and all sorts. And if you look at it, most of these things have created so much waste in terms of time, waste in terms of resource, waste in terms of money. You can name it. I'm not knocking the waterfall way of delivering projects. I'm saying that things have actually evolved from there, and there are better ways of doing things. And you can remember also things like when you have a waterfall in terms of software delivery, system engineering, do your analysis, design, you have to go through one stage gate to the other before you can move to the next stage gate to the other. And some dependencies could just be so long to get approval for. Some is quite cumbersome in terms of how you get sign off. Some, it could be so many blockers, some requirements, and things could change along the line. You know, things just happen, and at the end of the day, you can't really deliver. Or by the time you're done with delivery, you discover that things have really, really gone the way you didn't plan it to be. So the customers end up not being too happy. For instance, you have a situation whereby requirements are gathered, but what has been gathered is different from what the project leader understands. And from there, you can't even have a better analysis as to, because there's a gap in communication. And the reason being, it takes time. We're not all co-located. We're not working together in bite size, or we're not breaking out a project into bite size. We're trying to do everything at once and taking so long. And, you know, whoever it is, the developer or programmer, to misinterpret whatever is being meant to be developed. At the same time, what the customer gets is not what he wants. So you get this kind of things over and over again. I remember when I used to work in as a project manager, we used to do all this high-level plans, low-level plans, task, project plans, and all that. And all we could just do was tick in the box to say 100%, which is good, but we never see the actual delivery. And that kept me asking questions. What's the point if someone says he's done something, but eventually what he's done, there's no proof to say, well, it's actually complete. We delivered the data center for a company, which I will mention. And by the time we did the project, well, we finished the project, cost about £100 million. By the time we finished up the project, we still had to do some remediation for about 3 months. So, but it went live, a new project, new data center. We have to do some remediation plan to bring it back to new. So I didn't quite understand, why would we have that? So we thought about it. It's a better way of working, and that's where a lot of people thought there's a better way of doing things. What can we do to make things work? People in the Agile world came up with the Agile Manifesto. And, you know, people say Agile started 2001 or 2000. I don't think so. I think it started long, long ago, because we had the Toyota production system that had to do with reduction of waste. That was a way of Agile, lean processes and things like that to reduce waste, and also to streamline production to make sure that we get the best out of delivery. So Agile didn't start, I don't think it started in 2000. I think Jeff Sutherland and the other guys that started off with Scrum, actually came up with a manifesto in 2001 to make sure that we could have a better way of working. So that's my perspective. You can disagree, but I'm not here to justify when it started or anything, though. I'm just concerned about how we can improve things to reduce waste. So in terms of better ways of working, thought about it, what can we do? And about Agile. So a lot of people, when it comes to Agile, so is it modern Agile? Is it Agile portfolio management? What is this? There's so many questions being asked. Agile contracting, Agile education, Agile budgeting. So there's so many buzzwords, and people keep asking questions. What is this all about? I remember the project I worked in, the thought Agile was all about sharing cars, the car share. Agile was about working from home. Agile was about flexibility around your work and things like that, which is very interesting. It's about the concept and what you understand about Agile. But in terms of project delivery, it needs to be put in the right context, what expected and what benefit it will be like to have on a project or to deliver a project. So, and with all these questions, people still have things like, what would happen with, let me move this up a bit, with retrospectives, Scrum. You have many questions. And the beauty about Agile is there's so much facets to it. However, it's as simple as ABC once you understand the principles, the values, and what is expected out of it. So you have all the things like TDD, BDD. I remember when we just started, when you hear about BDD, TDD, you're wondering what's going on, what's this velocity? There's so many words, but the beauty about it is everything has a meaning. All these names contribute to delivery that would add value to organizations, to projects, and also to people by and large. I'll move on to the next slide, and that is about what is Agile. You know, just like people ask, they say, well, Agile, there's no documentation. There's documentation, but it's just minimal. It's not as much because you're not spending so much time to document things, but there's still documentation. You use your Ship Drive, you use your Confluence, you have repository that you put things in there that to save documents, make reference to prototypes when you design, user research findings. So there's a bit of documentation. It's not that there's no documentation at all. Some say it's chaotic. It's not chaotic, it's not chaos. It's all about making things work in a different way. But the way people dress and the way we're quite casual things doesn't mean it's chaotic. Some say there's no planning. I think there's a lot of planning that even goes into Agile. And that planning actually helps a lot because it's much more detailed, it breaks it down to that granular level to get to what you want to get from the project. So people say there's no plan, I disagree. So if someone says there's no plan in Agile, I don't agree with them. So there's no discipline. There's a lot of discipline. You have your stand-up, you have your ceremonies that you go through on every fortnight. If it's a 2-week sprint, every week. If it's a 1-week sprint, I think people hardly do 1-week sprints anyway. Or if it's a 4-week sprint, but that's discipline to go through your daily stand-up, retrospective, to go your planning, review, and refine the backlog from time to time, and envision what we're going to deliver in the coming sprint. So there's a lot of discipline. Someone said there's no architecture. I don't believe that. There is architecture. It's a framework, yes. And people say it's a methodology. I think it's more than a methodology, it's a framework, and which is work. And, words like this confuses a methodology, is a framework. People say, well, most important thing is we have a reference point. We have something, a guide that's making us deliver things in an appropriate way, reducing waste, and we can actually see what we're delivering every 2 weeks or every week, and that keeps customer happy. And as processes involved, yes, obviously, but it's minimal. It's not about process driven. We'll go through the manifesto, so we'll talk about that. So all these questions like, is it the fad and the approach? The beauty about it is everyone can apply Agile because you'll always go through your iteration of requirements, design, develop, test, and also you deploy. And that's what it's all about. And that's a joy about Agile because you can actually see things moving and being gradually moving from requirements to a shippable product after a short period of time without delay. So it's understanding what Agile is all about. So I got this from Atlassian, and it says Agile is an iterative approach to project management. So it says to project management and to software development, not just project management and not just software development, because Agile can be used for anything. I worked in projects whereby Agile is used to deliver, documentation's amazing. There's a project, I think in DFE, that I worked on that to do with some governance, and it was delivered by Agile, using the Agile framework, and helps teams deliver value. So the keywords here: iterative approach, delivery of either software solutions, project management, deliver value faster to their customers, faster and with fewer headaches. I like it when you say fewer headaches. You're not waiting for, even if the dependencies can be called out easily and can be resolved if there are any blockers or whatsoever. And that's why I like Agile. I don't think I'll ever go back to waterfall, So that's the definition. And thinking about it, it's more of a mindset that is established. He said this mindset, the mindset that is established set of attitudes held by someone. So it's more of a mindset. It's not just about the delivery. It's not just about the project. It's about what to learn through discovery. It's about collaboration, failing early and learning from them, seeking feedback for learning, striving for continuous delivery, and focusing on value. That's the thing about the mindset, because there's something about the mindset. In so many organizations, mindset is the first thing to change in order to start to work with Agile framework or to deliver projects in the Agile way. The mindset is so critical, because if people don't have that mindset, you can't really do much, because some people kick against it. Some have come, over the years, I work with this command and control attitude, or being able to, or working in silos, not talking to one another. And these things actually tend to have a knock-on effect on project delivery. Apart from it being a mindset, just like we mentioned, has values, and the Agile Manifesto talks about individuals and interactions over processes and tools. So that's why we said, well, we do have minimal processes, but the focus is more about individuals, interactions, not ticking off those stage gates like a waterfall to say, well, we've passed the stage gate, then gateway 2, we're going to gateway 3, which makes things cumbersome. But it's more about individuals getting to talk to people, having those interactions. It's more about working software over comprehensive documentation. Like we all know, in the waterfall, there's always comprehensive documentation. These big plans that we have to work with. It's more of a customer collaboration, get feedback from the customers over contract negotiation. And we can actually deliberate on things that are not working and see how we can take things forward, because there's a quick turnaround in terms of feedback. There's a quick feedback from the customers as to how we can, improve on things that we're working on. And if there's any defect or anything that's not in line with the vision or goals that's been set, we can actually see what we can quickly do to remediate those issues. And also responding to change over following the plan. And that's what I like about this. We like Agile, it's about the quick response, not waiting till you get to the tail end of the project before you can actually make those changes. And it's not just about the changes. As we go along, you see how we can actually respond to feedback as well. Move on to the manifesto. This is the same thing we just read, individuals over interactions. And you can get that on agilemanifesto.org. I believe everybody should have this, but if you're new to Agile, it'll be useful for you. You can type that in that website, go to that website and get this information. And these are the people that came about it. The names of guys that came about the Agile Manifesto. We know about Ken Grover and Jeff Sutherland. We speak a whole lot about them. I'll move on again to Agile is a mindset defined by values, guided by principles. About 12 principles which are listed here. They're quite faint. You might not see them, but the same, if you go to agilemanifesto.org, you get them there. Talks about highest priority is to satisfy customer satisfaction is top priority. It talks about welcoming change requirements, even late in development. Talks about delivering working software frequently. And he talks about business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. So we're not working in isolation. Talks about building projects around motivated individuals, giving them the environment and support they need, and trust them to get the job done. And also emphasized about most efficient, effective method of conveying information to and within the project team is face-to-face. So we're all working from home right now. Even though it's face-to-face, we can still use our various platforms, virtual platforms, to talk and collaborate and communicate. So there's still room for communication. We don't have to travel all the way. In those days, you have to travel all the way for a meeting, maybe in Germany, which still happens. But this is a better way of working because people are communicated and in the team to ask those questions. Working software is primary. Sorry about that. Let me move this. Sorry, JJ. Working software is a primary measure of progress. So we know it could be working software. It's not just focused on software. It could be working solution as well. But that's a primary goal. That's what we use in measuring progress. Then agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. So that's what I like about it as well. There's a constant pace. You can determine velocity. You can determine when sprint ends. It's time boxed and gives us what to focus on within that period. I don't want to bore you. You can get this on agilemanifesto.org, but talks about continuous attention to technical excellence, simplicity, the act of maximizing the amount of work done is essential. The best architects, requirements, and designs emerge from self-organizing teams. I like this part as well, being self-organized. You don't have to start depending on other people, but people can pick things up. You can work without being commanded to do so. The team is matured well enough, but it takes time when it comes to agile because just like I said, it comes with a mindset, comes with coaching, comes with being able to guide people with the principles to make sure deliver what they have to deliver and use this way of working. And at regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts its behaviors accordingly. You know, retrospectives are so lovely. I love retrospectives because once you go to retro, you can actually pick up actions and you can learn from, you know, how we can improve things we're doing, what we need to stop or what we need to continue and that we can call out. So that's the beauty about the agile principles. Now, in terms of the principles, we also have manifested through practices. So there's several practices I've discovered. I talked about TPS, Total Production System, where they're using Lean, Scrum, people have used Extreme Programming, Kanban, TAFE, LESS, several practices. But the whole idea is to be able to deliver in such a way that there's no complexity. Even if there's any complexity, it can be resolved easily and we can actually get the work done without much stress or issues around that. Move on to the next one. So people say Agile was invented, but I totally disagree. I think there's more of discovery because things, if not working well, you try to sit down and say, what can we do to improve on things? And that's how the manifesto came about in 2001, where people like Jeff Sutherland and Mark Shrubby, if I got it right, worked on this, the other team, to start to put Scrum and this ways of working into effect. So there are other ones which, you know, fall under the umbrella of Agile in terms of practices. Scrum, XP, you talked about LESS, SAFE. There's so many, and the most important thing is choosing the one that works for your team that would make us deliver. So organizations, I've seen people use something called, they say Wagile, a combination of waterfall and agile. At times it could be conflicting and might not give the best of what we want. But at the same time, I would suggest if you're working with agile, just stick to it. There's no need to have a hybrid framework. it tends to defeat its purpose and contradict itself. At the end of the day, you have those challenges. But from what I've seen, it's quite demanding to fully eliminate some, things that in place, like cultural ways of work, like waterfall. Some you can't get rid of spreadsheets, you can't get rid of project plans. Some still use it. And just like I said, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it, but this is just a better way of working from my perspective. And maybe you might disagree. That's okay. I'll move on to, so Agile, obviously, we have things like, we talked about ceremonies, we talked about things like artifacts. So it's just to elaborate further how we get things done on a daily basis using a stand-up to give feedback. We have a sprint on a 2-week basis, backlog refinement, or we have a backlog where we have all the requirements, what we'll be working on, which are broken down into smaller bits, taken into sprints, which we can build up to give a shippable product at the end of the sprint. We will soon be done. The benefits of Agile. There are quite a number of benefits. Before we talk about benefits, people still ask, is it only for software? Is Agile new? Is it silver bullet? What's going to happen? There's so much uncertainty around it. So at the times overshadows the benefits because people are not sure what to expect. For those of us who have worked as Agile coaches, you have to keep, assuring people, selling it to them to let them understand how important it is and giving them examples of organizations or how this has helped in delivering several projects. If, you've delivered such project before, obviously, it will be an opportunity to let people know because there's so many things around it. Is it new? Is it just for software? Just like I said, it's not just for software. We've delivered several solutions, which is not software based, and they've actually worked using the Agile framework. So is it a civil? No. Challenges with it, Agile. Number one, lack of Agile acceptance. We're going to talk later on again about the benefits as well in detail. Lack of Agile acceptance, people tend to push back. I've seen several roles where people push back on Agile because they believe it's a complete waste of time. We can see people not serious, they're doing stuff. There are no big plans. Insufficient Agile experience and knowledge because a lot of people don't have that experience. So it's quite demanding to carry them along. But, with time, with the coaching and that confidence you instill in them, people can buy into it. Lack of sponsorship. Because once people don't understand it, they don't like to sponsor things they're not sure of anyway. So you have this kind of, hurdles to cross because of the level of understanding people have about Agile. Attempting enterprise-wide Agile adoption with project-level Agile success. So, all this you see on the internet, and several examples of how people have been unable to deploy solutions or deliver projects because people didn't quite accept it widely. And when you have an enterprise-wide, you have big transformation projects which you have to work on. Some think Agile is not sufficient, but I think that's where it's actually much needed. We'll go through that later. I'll rush through. Managers are willing to change from commanders to team facilitators because some people like to be in control, which is good, but at the same time, it doesn't help the team because you don't allow the team to express themselves and give and make them have the opportunity to do what they should do. But people are being told what to do, which at times just defeats the purpose of creativity and being able to make people do what they should do to get the work done. Underestimating the amount of planning Agile, people think, just like I said the other time, people think Agile there's no planning involved. But there's a lot of planning because you have your roadmap, you know what you should be delivering, at least you have like what you'll be doing the next 2-3 sprints. It just makes things much easier and you can actually plan better rather than having MSP project plan, a document that can really give you a visual product you can relate with after you delivered. So adopting agile delivery process practices with adopting technical practices. So this is something people also find difficult to believe. Well, we can deliver, but we don't need technical practices. I don't know how, we still need people like developers, we need testers, we need to do these things, but it's just having that understanding that it's not one size fits all. It's about being flexible to deliver a project. It's not about software alone. It could be a solution. It could be even I've seen churches use agile in delivering things. I've seen families use it. Families have had retrospectives to actually improve the way they do things. So it's not one size fits all, but you have this kind of hurdles to cross, whereby people might find it difficult to adopt this technical practice. And some are not patient. You have this issue as well, issue with impatience, people wanting to see stuff, want to see results. They tell you it has to be done this way. It happens a lot. And the tendency to micromanage. If you've been used to working with the waterfall way, there's always a tendency to micromanage and find out what's happening, what's going on. And you don't need to micromanage people in Agile. We have a daily stand up to see how things are progressing. Things are not working the way they should. There's room for engagement, to have discussions to see how we can improve those things. Benefits, sorry. So it's improve team morale. So this is benefits in terms of to the team, project teams. There's always this excitement I see in teams. Once a team is happy, productivity level times very high, very, very high. Continuous improvement, because you can actually improve on what you've done. Superior quality product. We can see we can improve and we can get feedback and do what we need to do, and also make changes as frequent or as often as we should. Increase flexibility. Waterfall doesn't allow you that flexibility. It's so rigid, not that rigid, but could be. Depends on who you're working with. But if you have to follow the methodology, it's a bit rigid, so it doesn't allow that flexibility that Agile permits. And reduce risk, because you don't have to get to the tail end of a stage gate, which might take 3 months to get to before you can identify what is the challenge. And you can see it in a product review. You know what needs sprint review. You can get feedback from customers and see what risk could be coming up, or what we need to improve and what we need to change. Even in terms of timelines, it could be things like that we have to improve on. Improve product predictability, better visibility, customer satisfaction, faster delivery, predictable costs. In waterfall is not predictable. Clarity of delivery objectives. And I'll move on to next, and focus on goals to achieve, because in Agile, if this is what you're delivering in this sprint, you can focus on them. If it's this quarter, you have a roadmap you can work with. Cost benefits. This is a part that was so intriguing. Government saved in the United Kingdom £891 million in 2012 to 13. Further savings of 978 million. You can see this. I got this from gov.org, gov.uk rather, and talked about further savings of 978 million in 2013 to 2014. In 2015, say 1.7 billion throughout the deliverable project. Shocking. And a total of 3.56 billion has been saved between 2012 and 2015. This is remarkable. So it tells us that this is the way forward, and it has really helped. And if you go outside the United Kingdom, in America, billions of dollars to trillions have been saved, and other countries like Australia, Canada, they tend to use this, and it's really working. So if organizations have not started using other ways to deliver or framework to deliver projects, this is the time to do so. So one or two things about benefits: improved efficiency and engagement in various organizations. So most of the excuse me, public sectors or government parastatals all over the world have used this. I got this on PIGA. There's a documentation I was reading and took some snippets from this. It's so amazing how HMRC has turned things around, by saving billions of pounds. I think it was 30.3 billion, of revenue through compliance by moving from one manual paper process to automated process. For those of us working at HMRC, kudos to us, kudos to you guys. The reduction to tech debt resulted in massive savings. So ATF, that's Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, reduced the tech debt by, after they adopted Agile and moved to automated processes, and that saved them a lot of money as well. In America, the health sector, employed the use of Agile, and as a result, helped with the documentation being used in such a way that they can do. We're reviewing thousands documentations, people's cases, but because this was automated, it made things easier, all because of the Agile way of delivering projects. So we use the buzzwords, we do Scrum, we do Agile, but the main thing is this: if we're not working in small functional teams and self-organized, we won't call it, it's not real agility. We have to release often, and that's a key thing, and get user feedback. Our focus on value rather than output cost. The value is so important because if we are adding value to the customer, it makes a lot of sense. And also experiment a lot with product and processes. So we go through the retro, what can we do to improve what we're doing? We go through sprint review, how can we improve on what we've done so far? There's a lot of refactoring done if codes go obsolete. And that is the beauty about Agile. There's always this continuous improvement. So I don't believe in people saying, well, we do Agile, we do Scrum. It's about, are we releasing stuff? Are we deploying stuff from time to time? Are we getting feedback? Are we working small bite sides and also cross-functional? Even if we're using SAFe, you still have to be broken down to teams or squads, which will deliver what we need to deliver. I'm conscious of time, that's why I'm rushing. So please, if you think I'm racing, just tell me stop. So is Agile only for software? Nope. I mentioned it, it's not just for software. We're talking about manifesto, individuals and interactions, working software, but me to be working solutions as well, and also responding to feedback. So it's beyond just software. The things that people have used, projects that people have used Agile for to deliver, and which is not software, and it's giving them the solutions to the problems that they have, and also responding to feedback or following the plan. Now, why is Agile spreading so fast? Because with the waterfall, you have a predictive process where we have to do this. But in Agile, the beauty about it, if the project is so massive, you don't know what next to do. You can have an MVP and build up on that and gradually know what you're going to end up with, or plan gradually by the frequent feedback, iterations that you carry out to know what you're going to end up with. And that's the reason why the world is moving in this direction. The feedback loop rather than the detailed plans. So we have so much clarity. The beauty about it is, as time goes on, we can use an adaptive process which would work, make us get what we want to get. And beauty again about Agile is the stability around teams. What I mean stability, we all can work together. We're not going out traveling, waiting for big time dependency before we get things sorted. It's a team that's small, cross-functional, self-organizing, co-located. Even if you're working from home at the moment because of the lockdown, you still have your squad or your teams that you work with, and you're all co-located in the Agile way and communicate from time to time. Now, Agile is all about increments and flexibility. Waterfall, so much time you spend before you get to this, but we can actually gradually and from time to time deploy things based on iterations. which make things work rather than waiting to the tail end before. So you can imagine how much we've covered, by actually deployed 3 times rather than waiting just one. And this just preserves time and also makes sure that it makes you save costs, saves time, saves money, saves resource. And that's the beauty about it. Agile delivers value, feedback, and ROI more quickly. Look at this. I got this chart also from one of the documents I'm reading. This is for Agile funds at risk and traditional. This is month 1 to 12. It increases in waterfall, or in Agile, it just remains the same because we can actually plan and know what to expect. It doesn't increase to go ahead. Same thing with in terms of risk. Risk is lower. In terms of time, you can walk through it. Some of the time is time blocks, but in waterfall, things could happen. You have so many external dependencies. With several people, they need to sign things up that are available. So many things could happen. But with Agile, it makes things just simple because after 2 weeks, you can deliver this, everything's time boxed. If the concerns, questions people ask, you have your product owner, you have the customer available, you're not waiting to have this board meetings before you get signs off, before you get approval to get anything moving forward. So that's the joy about Agile as well. So what would I say? Agile to me is the way forward. In every way, if people using waterfall, it's good, but I think it's a way forward to deliver projects. It's just the best way. It's changed my own mentality, made me collaborate more and talk more to people. Most of the time, I used to keep it to myself, but just makes you engage more, not just focusing on documents and plans and writing business cases, but you can talk and get those kind of feedback you need to get and get to know people more. And in summary and in closing, people talk about it's easy way of doing things, but it's easy to get stuck in old ways. The longer we live, the more we feel comfortable in doing things the way we have always done. However, change is inevitable, unavoidable for lasting success. The beauty about it is old ways won't open new doors. So we shouldn't remain with the old ways of doing things. We should change things. So Agile is a way forward. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you. Hope it made sense to anybody. Yeah, thank you. Any questions or comments? Last words before we go. I'll hand over to Prema.
Yeah, I've got a comment just on the, in one of your slides, you mentioned that one of the impediments to implementing Agile was problem of support from leadership and also from management. And it's interesting because it's a common conversation which has been coming up in several places recently. One of the problems with middle management is that Agile actually represents quite a serious threat to them in terms of their job security, because in an Agile world, the reality is that middle management isn't really required. So if middle management is obviously twigs onto that, and the reason for that is obviously because teams are self-organizing, they have scrum masters, you've got product owners and all that sort of stuff. So you don't actually need middle management anymore. So they could be quite strongly resistant. And I understand from a lot of the conversations that I've been having, as I say, recently, that is becoming a problem. People are running into resistance. And the interesting thing about the resistance is it takes 2 forms. It's either covert, which means somebody says, yeah, they'll do something and then they don't, or covert, or overt, sorry, where they actually actively work against you and they don't come to meetings and they don't do this and they don't do that. And they actually just give you a whole lot of grief. So perhaps you could speak into that a little bit.
Yeah, I think someone raised this the other time. There was a product being worked upon. I think it was a company, maybe HMRC, and had to do robotics. And said, well, people were feeling uncomfortable losing their jobs and things like that. I discovered that the agile ways of working have actually created more jobs for people than making people lose jobs. Because even though we might not have that medium or level of leadership to guide people, there's still some other areas, there's still so many other projects that people work on and things that people can pick up and do. So we can have managers who just manage people but don't do anything. That doesn't mean we're going to deliver. But we can have several, because I've seen it. I've worked with people whereby you need help. I once worked with a project manager who was meant to be guiding me. And every time I went to him, I never got anything out of him because he thought, I'm the man. Before you can actually cross over to the next huddle or next phase, you need me. So, and that became a blocker and affected productivity. So it could work two ways. It depends on value we're adding. So I can have someone who could actually be there and make a team so effective, and it can start to build another squad. It's just depending on the value we're adding on the project or to the organization. Nobody wants to lose the best staff. I don't think so. People want to keep the best staff and also create opportunities and avenues for them to be able to raise people like them up, because this needs more like it's contagious. You're good, you're adding value, you spend a lot of time being trained by the organization. Nobody wants to lose you. Like John Maxwell would say something, he said, rather than sack someone that made a mistake of £500,000 and has been trained with £5 million, he said, I'd rather keep him, because if I send him to a different company, the other company is going to, if I sack him, the other company is going to pick him. And the £5 million I used in training him is lost because of the mistake made. So it's about the value we add. I think it's about value, because people have that mentality of control. I'm the one, I'm the main man. I can remember my good friend in HMLC who said something. He said he interviewed someone, mentioned his name. Well, maybe I should, Ash. Ash, he brought someone in, and this person was like, command, control, and things went, upside down, but nothing was delivered. But we need people who are really concerned, who can make people feel comfortable, add value to the organization, add value to people, and from there they can build other squads. So that's my take on it. I don't know if someone else has a different perspective around that, but that's what I've discovered in life. You never want to lose good people that have added value and keep adding value. Thank you. Any other question from anyone? Does that answer your question, Michael? Or contribution?
Yeah, that's cool. Thanks very much. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Anybody else in terms of questions or feedback? So I can hand over to Prema. I know we have limited time, so if no questions, I would say thank you. Oh, go for it.
No, I was saying that's all right. Thank you, Louis, for such a wonderful, passionate talk from heart and from your experience. I think we can take some more questions. Anyone else would like to say anything, ask anything, anything from your experience, like what Michael and Louis just discussed? The resistance in the organization is a very, very common thing we all face. We all come to these meetups for to share tips and experience from each other. So go on, ask anything to Louis or to the general audience as well. We can discuss.
Cool. I think, yeah, I don't think there's any question anymore, but all right. If no question, I'll just hand over to you, Prema. Thank you very much. I'll stop sharing. Thank you. Thanks everyone for listening. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. It's a wonderful talk. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
My activity that I have planned is actually picking up from the conversation Michael and Louis had. It's about the people showing resistance and other things. So when we go for example, when I join a new organization, or when any new person joins in any new organization, what we do is we look for some people who are very similar to us, and then we immediately form, oh, this person must be like me, and I am very, very good friends with them, or something like that. We may not know even many people like, so especially if you think about agile coaches and scrum masters, we quite often we go and form friendship with other agile coaches, because surely we are all likes, we are all alike, surely our values align, surely we are going to be good friends, and then we form a group, and then we just go for coffees together, and suddenly, like, then everybody else, especially stakeholders, look them to us, and there starts us and them divide. We may have the best interest in our heart to change the organization, to bring agile values to this world, the place and everything, but unintentionally, we could have been the people who are contributing to this divide as well. We do often talk about this. We want to bridge this gap. We want to take everyone along the same journey together, and all that things. So what I'm going to, this is a small activity. It's not a major activity, but you can expand in as a major activity. So just going to give it's like just planting some seeds at that level of activity. Okay, I am going to give you a link to Mural, where we will go. I'll post the link here. We'll go and do this small activity. Join this Mural, please. It's a guest account. You don't need, it gives you guest access. You don't need account with the Mural to join this board. We will just go through very small activity, not a very expanded activity, but we will just go through a very small one. Okay, so you're all in here. I see many people are joining. I have there is a outline at the right. I'm going to present it. I hope you can see the presentation. Can you see the presentation? Does it show entry? Yeah, cool, fantastic. Okay, how if you have not used Mural before, okay, there are something has happened. If it was by me, it will bring it back. Okay, right. Someone is moving. Can you also lock that, please, once you are in? Shall I lock it? I will lock this, and so that it's not moving anymore. Cool. Right. Okay. So here, if you have not used Mural before, you can see, just if you open that, you will get loads of post-its here. You can take post-its and then use them on this board. We are not going to use so many other features. Just these post-its would be enough. So if you come back to this entry area, I have this instructions on this outline. Enter your thinking along the lines of what us and them you see in the organization. What makes us us when we are thinking that me as I am an agile person, I go into an organization, and then there are people, stakeholders, and then this is an area where them and me have a common thing. So there is an us there. And there is an area where I don't have anything common with them, or they don't have anything common with us. So that is then them divide. For example, we are doing agile ways of working. We believe in self-organization, for example. We believe in self-organization. Many stakeholders tell us that, no, come on, manage the team. You cannot just leave them to do whatever they like, and that kind of thing. So probably that is the kind of thing you see as a difference, and you often, they are doing command and control. You don't want to do command and control. They are having timeline in a Gantt chart, or they call it product map or whatever, but they are asking the team to deliver within that deadline. Whereas you are saying that that's not how we should do. We should prioritize. Let's do the important stuff and minimum viable product, and then they are not agreeing. So which areas you see there is an us, you are able to see people having a common agreement area, whereas there are area people are not having a common area, that goes to the them area. So let's take 1 minute for this. I will set a timer, and then we will move away from here. Remember, there are some positives that will create the us area. There are sometimes some negatives as well. Well, we don't want to call it negative. It could be just not yet positives, for example, like we are still project-driven organization, and that is fine. And we are still okay with the deadline-driven development. And we are still okay with the story points or velocity or things like that. There may be, there are quite a few things. Organization wants story points. We do story points, and we think that that's okay, but fantastic. Okay, ready to move to the next area? So what we are going to do here is, we are going to keep it. We are going to come back and we are going to visit that one as well. So we got quite a good number of post-its here. Technical knowledge is them, empowered is us, product review us, but the old ways worked is them totally. Let's go to next area, which is going to be round one. So what we are going to do is we are going to pick one person in here. We got 14 people here, so that we are going to be in breakout rooms, 2 people in each room. So that's going to be 7 breakout rooms. So identify somebody, and that's going to be somebody that's going to be your breakout person. So what I'm going to take you, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you to the third area. So here, what you can do is just pick a post-it and write your name, so that people know who is going to be with who. Pick a post-it and write your name and place it in the middle circle, central circle. And then you move yourself to the outer circle so that you are making yourself available to be picked. Okay. And then either randomly or selectively, you choose someone who is going to be your partner in your breakout room. And then let's see how that works out. So have you all found partners?
To be honest, I can't figure out how to use the sticky notes.
sorry, who is that?
Katrina.
Okay. You click on here.
Mm-hmm.
You see there is a sticky note here.
On the left. I'll go with you though, Kat, because we work in the same company, so we can talk about something relating to our work probably.
Yeah, that would work.
Okay. Cool. So, right. Okay. So there's Pam and Farah. You are ready to go to a room. I'm going to open all the rooms. Based on the selection, you can choose the room and go yourself to the rooms. So just make sure that you discuss between yourselves and then you go to the same room so that you do not end up in a different room. Okay.
Hi. I don't know what room I'm in. I'm Joe. I put a sticky note on.
You put a sticky note on as Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, is that the one? JJ and Joe.
Yeah.
That's JJ and Joe.
Yeah, that's me. Yeah.
Okay, you can go to the rooms are open. You can choose a room and then you can go to a room.
How do we choose the rooms? Sorry.
Okay. I'm assigning Farah and Pam to room 1. Okay.
I think I'm in a similar situation here that I don't know what to do next. I'll put my name and a sticky note, Matt. What's the next stage?
You go to some room. The rooms are open.
How do you choose a
There's a
person
button.
showing the... Oh, yeah.
Michael can go to room number 2. Okay. Right. Okay. So how to choose room? I am assigning as well. Okay. I assign Joe to room number 3, and JJ. Where is JJ? Yeah, to room number 3. Okay. You are in room number 3. You can look at round 1 and then start working on those. Right. Where is Andrew? Robin? Okay. Katrina. Yeah. Katrina and you are going to go with who?
With Robin.
Yeah, me and Kat.
Robin. Okay. Right. Sorry. Yeah. Assign to room 4.
Thank you.
Not to room 4. And we have got Louis, Krista, Matt, Ben.
I don't think I can do it.
Sorry.
We're still working. It will just listen afterwards if that's okay.
Yeah, okay. Is that Ben?
Yeah, Ben and Nikki.
Ben and Nikki, okay. Matt and Krista, shall I assign you to the next room? 5.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Cool.
So.
Okay. Hello. Hello, everyone. Thank you. So probably I didn't explain very well about what we are going to be doing in this session, in this area. You are going to choose when you meet a person, you automatically imagine that this person is like me in this aspect or not in this aspect or something like that. So write down that is basically an assumption or some thinking or originally this is what I thought, whatever you want to call it, and then write it down and then try to find whether that person is actually that, or during that conversation, note down how many things you both have in common and how many things you common likeness, like even music or even sports or even reading books or regularly attending some courses so that you constantly want to learn something, anything like that. You just find out something. What else is this person is so much like me? And then note it down, and also note down what assumption we originally had about this person. It may or may not turn out to be true. That's what we are doing in this one. So in round one, we have done that. I see there are few yes. Okay, business has some impediments related to time-related deliveries. Anyone wants to say about this, or whose posted was it?
Yeah, I put it up. Basically, Andrew and I were having a conversation, and his organization is still in the throes of implementing or getting to a place where they can implement Agile. And one of the reasons being that they have time-related deliveries related to certain products that they build for one of their clients. So they haven't got to implement Agile just yet. He is a qualified. He's qualified in aspects of Agile, and he's quite keen to implement it. So that's kind of where he's at.
Okay, fantastic. Would anyone like to say anything about any other post-it you have got before we move? Major account manager. Okay, that's fine. So basically, when you look at someone, then we start with some assumption. Sometimes when we may find out that assumption is true, sometimes that assumption is not true. But during that time, how many likeness things we identify, and then we when we have more likeness aspects between two people, the likelihood of them becoming more friendlier and more kind of us behavior is higher. So that's what it was about. So we can go to again come back to this area. Bring your post-its with your names on. We can choose a different person and go to the breakout rooms and see if we find more likeness with other people as well. This time, maybe choose someone whom you may think are different from you, or slightly different from you, and find out what kind of likeness you discover from them when you are doing this, when you are talking to somebody who you think are different from you. Okay, so I see Michael and Farah as going to room. I recreate rooms. Okay. Open all rooms.
Prema, could you perhaps lock these images down, because I don't actually know how to do that. I'm not a mural user, so they just need to be locked into their areas. At the moment, they drift around as soon as you do something with them.
They are locked.
Are they locked? Okay, cool.
This one is not locked. Let me lock it.
Yeah, that's it. And we're going to round 2, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
Yeah, this is locked. I will unlock first and then lock so that only I can move. Yep. Right. Is it JJ and Robin, or Joe and Robin, or all 3 of you?
Yeah, I'm happy with that. I don't know how to go into the rooms from Mural though.
All right. Okay, I will add you there.
Thank you.
What room do you want us in? Do you want Farah and myself to go to?
You can choose. You can choose somebody different.
Okay, cool. Farah, do you want to go with me, and we can just go to room 2 maybe? Cool.
Room 2.
Okay.
Got it.
Yeah.
See you
Cool.
there.
Yeah.
Do you want to try? Okay, cool. Krista and Pam, maybe?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Room 3. 3.
I still don't have access to the board, but I'm happy to go with whatever remaining stragglers.
All right. Okay. Andrew and Katrina.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. We have Nikki, Ben, and Matt. Matt, would you like to go to where is that? This is room number 1 or room number 3? It's in room number 3. Cool. Thank you. Lot of us Post-its there, and we like Post-it is also there. We like Trello is also there. That's very nice. And anything anyone would like to say? Go on, Farah.
Trying to unmute myself on my phone, sorry. Some interesting common ground on having international teams. That was fun.
Yeah, fantastic.
And joining agile groups.
Cool. Okay, I don't know how many. Just before going to the last bit, this is a very small activity. This was planned to be a very small activity, so I have not really planned in detail to go a little bit more on that. Just before going to the last bit, I don't know how many of you have heard about many types of biases. One of them is affinity bias, that you go and find people who are like us in which aspect we choose as something we consider as like is different for everybody. That actually creates that us group. And in agile world, we often find ourselves as agile people. We are all together, and then they are there who need to be taught, who need to be brought, and then they talk to each other that we have done this job for quite a long time. We know how organizations work. These people are new with the jargons and they don't know how organizations work. And that kind of divide is what we are trying to bridge. We all want to bridge that divide. Sometimes they happen through very small things, like if you like music, if both of us like music, if Farah plays piano, I don't have a clue about that. But I'm sure if you find someone who plays piano, you will have a lot to talk about, wouldn't you? And then you will go for coffees, and then suddenly there is a personal bonding happens between the two individuals, and that actually breaks the stakeholder and agile and all sorts of barriers. And then suddenly you have very different common ways of working together. This is a small thing, but if you start looking at people challenging our assumptions, what did I assume about this person, and then challenging our assumptions, and then finding out what else, even in agile aspects, what else this person has in concept wise, they are thinking along the same line as I am thinking. That kind of will help us bridge that, bring the gap, close the gap between us, and bridge that communication between us, and to bring the empathy for them, and slowly reduce the assumption divide. Try challenging that assumption. We cannot teach anyone else yet. We can only challenge our assumption at the moment. And while challenging assumptions and finding out commonness between the people, when you communicate that commonness, they are likely to challenge their assumptions, and they are likely to come towards us, and that's likely to help us. That is the concept that I wanted to do here. I have not done it in a very big way. We could do this, and we could expand and get everyone to talk more, and ask more questions to find out what they have, what they are experiencing here. That would be a fantastic exercise. You can do it with your teams, with your stakeholders, or in social circumstances as well. You can do it anytime, and then see how this develops. If you do find this interesting, then use it, spread it, and then come back and discuss with us as well. So just the last bit. Anyone like to say anything about what we have learned here today? assumptions we had and the likenesses we have discovered and us we found about ourselves.
As soon as you just discover something in common, you're away. We're all agilists, so that's something in common. So yay, we've got something to talk about, and from there you can talk about anything.
Yeah, I'll second that for sure. I think that's a good thing. You know, it does break down barriers. It does open doors and get people feeling more comfortable with one another, and then working together more effectively. Yeah. So I think it's a good thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you, everyone. Hope you all enjoyed, and see you all. Okay, I will go back to the slide, the Terence job. Now I have to change myself as Terence now. And I will share screen. Okay, Terence would usually go and say that what's next. Okay, what's next is our next meetup is on 11th of May. And this is going to be on reading books. We are all given so many recommendations by so many people on so many things, and there is a pile of books bought and unread books. There are some people who have cracked the art of reading books, whereas some others have lost the art of reading anything basically. So Paul Brown is somebody who reads loads of books, and he can come and talk to us on reading books. And it's going to be a fireside chat. It's mostly Q&A session. He's not going to do any presentation. We don't want to listen to a presentation about reading books. We can get him to talk about it as well. So that's our next meetup. And then you can find me and Terence and everybody else as well if you are interested in linking up with each other, that we are on LinkedIn. You can write feedback to our group, telford.agile@gmail.com, or you can write on Meetup, or you can send messages on LinkedIn posts as well. This is careers. Terence usually give a list of open roles available in Capgemini. You can email terence.darling@capgemini.com if you are interested in any of these roles, or to inquire about general inquiries about careers in Capgemini. Thank you for our sponsors, Capgemini and JJ from YSET Tribe. Wave, JJ. Where are you? I can't. Yes, thank you, JJ. And the Capgemini, they sponsor the meetup. JJ sponsors the Zoom, and we wouldn't be able to run this meetup without them. Thank you, everyone, for your time and interest in coming to this meetup. We will continue to bring speakers for your interest. If you have any particular interest, and then if you want some speaker to be brought for that topic, I will try. So please message me on that as well. We will if you want to learn about certain thing, then I will look for people and then bring the speakers for those topics as well. That's it from me, folks. Thank you. See you next month. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Prem.
Thank you.
Thanks, Prem.
Thank you. Bye.
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 Bye.